I have LGBTQ friends, a lot of them I have LGBTQ relatives. So if that's the way the world is, you have bisexual people, transgender people all over. So that's the way the world is. You have to learn about it.
Children at least as young as 4 years old were reportedly sent home with an assignment instructing them to list discrete places in their household and draw areas where they could privately masturbate.
I think it's a little scary. Did they ask their parents first? Nope. See? So, no, that's freaky. I'd be like, that's another line where it's been crossed. It should have been put.
I think that's coming from The Onion. I find that so hard to believe. 4 years old, they're in preschool. Like, they don't even know. Like, they're barely learning the color of the crayons. I think someone made that stuff up, or it's the conservative media just trying to, like, make us liberals seem like we're crazy lunatics or something.
Hello everyone, I'm in Montreal right now to ask people for their opinion on public education. As you may have noticed, schools that used to teach children curriculum topics like mathematics, grammar, geography, and so on, but these days, those schools are all about teaching privilege, inclusivity, and diversity, with major subjects being taught to minors and very young children, which have many parents concerned. We have seen school push the eating of crickets and insects at school, but now they are teaching children about gender orientation and sexual identity, topics that are left open to the interpretation of the teacher. Under this umbrella of inclusivity, schools are now lining their libraries with books that featured very disturbing content, especially when it comes to elementary school. Books about masturbation, books about sexual relation amongst peers, with pornographic image to accompany all of it. As reported by my colleague in British Columbia, Drea Humphrey, children at least as young as 4 years old were reportedly sent home with an assignment instructing them to list discrete places in their household and draw areas where they could privately masturbate. Is this really appropriate? According to the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, encouraging a child to masturbate or watch others masturbate is an example of non-contact sexual abuse. But it seems that now this is being normalized as part of inclusive and diverse public education. Are we crossing the line where school goes beyond parents' role? Is this appropriate, and how much do parents really know about what goes on beyond closed school doors? So we are here today to ask the people their opinion about this topic. Let's check it out. So I'm asking the people today if we should normalize sexuality amongst children.
Sexuality amongst children? Oh, that's a big question. I think I would say for sure it's with age. Depends on an age difference, because saying it to a 5-year-old who didn't hit puberty, they don't know what is sexuality, right? Like, what am I doing? Who am I? What am I? But then again, I know there's a bunch of people who will come and be like, there's the other far right who will be like, oh yeah, but at that age they have their idea of their morals and who they are. So it's a very touchy topic.
I don't really mind at all. I have children of my own. Whatever they choose is what they want to be.
Bien sûr, oui, totalement. Enfin, ça semble normal de leur expliquer tout ce qu'ils doivent savoir et tout ce qu'ils aient besoin, même répondre à leurs questions dès le plus jeune âge. La première question qu'ils posent, c'est comment on fait les enfants, donc il faut qu'ils sachent comment on fait et même tout le reste.
Yes. I think it's really important to teach people, their anatomy, kids from the beginning, their body parts, and, so that they're not questioning later on if it's okay for example, someone to, to touch body parts. If they know what they're called, then they know from the very beginning, it's natural. It's something that's very normal and part of, from the beginning of when you're born to when you get older. I don't think it's something you should learn, when you're in middle school or, we're from the US. So, but it's the same idea. It's very controversial, but I feel like it's really important. And as a parent, I always did that right from the beginning.
I think we should. I think that the stigmas involved, those barriers should be let down. I'm not saying to enforce one way or the other, but the freedom should exist. Not necessarily preaching it at a young age, but when they're ready to understand and they have the questions about it, it should be spoken to them in a way that they can understand and absorb.
Oui, je crois que oui. Oui. Je crois pas que ça doit être un sujet tabou. Donc, je vois pas ça comme quelque chose de négatif.
I think that it's important. I mean, this is the way the world is. I have LGBTQ friends. A lot of them I have LGBTQ relatives. So if that's the way the world is, you have bisexual people, transgender people all over. So that's the way the world is. You have to learn about it.
Yeah, I think it's important for kids to have freedom of expression and understand that there's different possibilities out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we should normalize it for a minor, like as young as 7 years old?
There's at age-appropriate educational level, sure.
Ça sera au moins 16 ans et plus. Ça sera plus logique.
I would direct that back to parents, because I think parents are a huge part of the kids' involvement, right? We know for us, legal age is 18 or 16, depending on what we're talking about. So I would push it back to the parents and be like, do your part, and let's see from there. Because I feel like a lot of kids too, they don't get heard from their parents. So that too, it's another boundary. So a little mix of everything.
Some school district did provide some books to really minor children. We talk about 7, 8 years old, about how to masturbate themselves and how to have sex with a partner, like either is female, male, homosexuality, that you can use your mouth and you can use other way to give pleasure. Do you think it's appropriate from a school to just provide this kind of book to children?
I think it's a little scary. Did they ask their parents first? No. See? So, no, that's freaky. I'd be like, that's another line where it's been crossed. It should have been put. Again, where are the parents? The parents should be told. Like, parents have the right. That's their kids. They send them to school to be protected, not to be violated.
I'm sure there's different extreme examples in every direction that can be found in books. I don't know that it's part of the school's curriculum. If a book is available and parents decide that that's something that kids can get, then sure.
Oh, bien sûr, parce que des fois, pour des parents, c'est pas simple aussi de l'expliquer. Donc, puis l'école, c'est fait pour apprendre. Donc, pourquoi ils ne pourraient pas l'expliquer?
I think it's okay as long as it's taught within the context of like your family to say, okay, so this is so that if someone inappropriately touches you, then you know that that's not okay for them to do. That if it's something that's done in private and it's with, your own body, but I don't know that it should be something that's done in school. I think it's something that should be done, with your family. Conversely, I don't feel like it's fair for parents to put it on the school to say, well, that's the school's job, because then the same people get upset saying, well, the school is teaching them. So your job as a parent is to teach them yourself, and then the school doesn't have to do that.
Et ça, c'est sans l'autorisation des parents?
Sans que les parents non, ils sachent.
Non, je crois pas que c'est correct. Je crois que les parents doivent savoir et doivent accepter avant de montrer quoi que ce soit à des enfants aussi jeunes.
I find it hard to imagine that they would be doing that at a kindergarten, first grade level. There's one thing when you see books about, when mommy's having a baby and you're getting a sibling. I've seen those.
Do you think the parents should know more about what is going on in school and what they learn in school about those topics?
Absolutely. I'm born and raised here. My parents knew everything all through elementary. We always had how do you say it, like a paper sheet saying, okay, on this day there's going to be this topic happening, are you guys okay? If you agree, please sign it. Like sexual education, anything with that I recall.
I think kids find lots of things on the internet, whether their parents know or not. So I'd rather it come from a more regimented school situation than some other thing a kid can find on the internet. Yeah.
You know, all these devices in front of their children to calm them down. I mean, of course a kid's going to find this kind of stuff on YouTube. You know, it's the Wild West over there, and there's no like curtailing the stuff that you can see on the internet, whether you're 5 or 50. So, you know, parents have to take some responsibility too, that, you know, if you're going to do this and give them free rein, then you're going to have to limit the interaction as well, if that's what you're so concerned with.
And do you think it's the role of the school or the parents to do so, to educate children about sexuality and gender ideology?
I guess it depends on the type of school. I mean, there are public school systems, there are private, there are religious. So it depends on the school. I mean, we live in the United States, so we come from a very progressive area, and there are people that believe wildly differently than we do. But and I think a lot of the discussion is just taken to the extreme.
Je crois que c'est principalement aux parents, mais ça ne veut pas dire que l'école ne devrait pas du tout couvrir le sujet. Mais par contre, je pense que l'étendue sur laquelle le sujet est abordé à l'école doit être quelque chose qui est aligné avec les parents et approuvé par les parents.
I feel more comfortable with the parents. The parents, again, maybe because of my personal experience, my mom and my dad are my best friends. Maybe some kids don't have that, unfortunately, I do understand, but I'm sure there's an immediate adult or someone that can navigate and who signs for them. So that person should be involved, that person needs to be an understanding, they need to be tied in that, you know?
I think both have their place in society.
Why?
I mean, like I said, kids are going to learn it, so I'd much rather have a regimented, studied curriculum from educational experts who are deciding what's appropriate for the right age of children.
Recently, we saw a young kid of 4 years old coming back from school with this kind of like assignment to do as a like work at home, to draw a safe space that the children had at home to touch itself, like to masturbate itself. As a parent, how would you react to see this, your kids of 4 years old coming back with?
I think that's coming from The Onion. I find that so hard to believe. I mean, 4 years old, they're in preschool. Like, they don't even know, like, they're barely learning the color of the crayons. I think someone made that stuff up, or it's the conservative media just trying to, like, make us liberals seem like we're crazy lunatics or something.
L'enfant de 4 ans, il va pas se masturber.
Ben, je sais rien, moi. Il se pose toutes ces questions, l'enfant de 4 ans. Parce que,
C'est l'école, en fait, qui lui a donné. Que vous trouvez que ça va trop loin?
Un peu, 4 ans.
4 ans, ouais, c'est un peu jeune. Peut-être 4 ans, ça fait quoi? C'est maternel, c'est un petit peu jeune, 4 ans.
Ça serait quoi la limite d'âge, selon vous, pour vraiment aborder le sujet de sexualité, des genres et tout avec un enfant?
7-8 ans. 7-8, entre 8 et 10 ans, ouais, 7-8, 10 ans. Ouais.
I remember taking my first like health class in school in around like 6th grade. I think around 6th grade is a good time. I feel like that's when a lot of kids start to hit puberty for the first time. And also middle school, it's very different from elementary school, at least how it is in the States. As long as you do it before students get to like these, you know, big adolescent years, like when they're 16, 17. So I think around like the early teenage years, maybe like 10, 11, 12. Definitely not 4. I think at age 4, it would be a little hard for the kids to like comprehend and understand. But hey, if there's a school out there that thinks they got it down, they can figure it out, teach 4-year-olds about masturbation and sexuality, then hey, to each their own.
So if you agree that teacher and school should not discuss about sexuality with children, especially without the consent of the parents, you can sign our petition at stopclassroomgrooming.com. Sign it massively and share it with others to make a difference and to stop this new phenomenon that is appearing all across Canada.